In a small village tucked between rocky slopes lived a man named Eliab. Eliab was not a prophet. He was not a king. He was not even a priest. He was a shepherd. But his story would become one that heaven itself would not forget. Eliab lived a simple life. Each morning before the sun rose, he would gather his sheep and lead them to the hills. And every evening, he would return home, his voice humming songs of praise. People in the village often mocked him. "Why do you still trust God?" they would ask. "Look around you. The Romans rule us. The land is dry. Where is your God?" Eliab would smile gently. "My God is not silent," he would say. "He is just speaking in ways we do not always understand." But even Eliab had his struggles. His wife, Miriam, had been sick for many months. No healer could cure her. No remedy worked. Every night, Eliab would kneel beside her and pray, "Lord, if it is your will, heal her. But if not, give me strength to endure." Miriam would look at him with weak but loving eyes. "Eliab," she whispered one night, "do not let my suffering shake your faith." He held her hand tightly. "Never." But deep inside, a storm was beginning. One evening, as Eliab returned from the hills, he saw a man sitting by the well at the edge of the village. The man looked different. His robe was worn, yet strangely clean. His eyes were calm but piercing, as if they could see beyond the present moment. "Peace be with you," the man said. "And with you?" Eliab replied cautiously. "You are a man of faith," the stranger continued. Eliab frowned. "Many say otherwise, but heaven does not measure faith the way men do." The words struck him. "How do you know me?" Eliab asked. The man said slowly, "I know your prayers. I know your pain. And I know the test that is coming." Eliab's heart tightened. What test? The stranger did not answer immediately. Instead, he looked toward Eliab's home. "You must be ready, because soon your faith will be weighed." Before Eliab could speak again, the man turned and walked away, disappearing into the fading light. That night, the air felt heavy. Miriam's breathing became shallow. Eliab sat beside her, holding her hand, praying harder than ever before. "Lord, please." But heaven was silent. Miriam smiled faintly. "Do not be afraid," she whispered. Then her hand went still. The room fell into a silence so deep it felt like the world had stopped breathing. Eliab froze. "No, no, no." He shook her gently. "Miriam, wake up, please." But she did not move. For the first time in his life, Eliab could not pray. Days passed. Eliab stopped going to the hills. He stopped singing. He stopped praying. Villagers whispered, "Where is his faith now? His God has failed him." Eliab heard them, and for the first time, he did not defend God. Instead, anger began to grow inside him. One night, he walked alone into the hills. "Why?" he shouted into the darkness. "I trusted you. I served you. I believed." His voice cracked. "And this is what you give me?" The wind answered with silence. Eliab fell to his knees. "Are you even there?" A voice spoke behind him. "You are not the first to ask that question." Eliab turned. The stranger stood there again. Rage filled Eliab's eyes. "You," he snapped. "You said a test was coming. Is this it, taking my wife?" The stranger stepped closer. "Do you believe your faith is proven only when life is good?" Eliab clenched his fists. "I believed God would protect me, and he still can." Eliab laughed bitterly. "Then where was he?" The stranger's voice softened. "Closer than you think." Eliab shook his head. "No, if he were here, he would have saved her." The stranger looked at him deeply. "Or perhaps he is saving you?" The stranger knelt beside Eliab. "Faith is not tested in comfort," he said. "It is tested in silence." Eliab's voice trembled. "I cannot feel him anymore." "Faith is not about feeling," the stranger replied. "It is about choosing to trust, even when you feel nothing." Eliab looked at the ground. "I don't know if I can." The stranger stood. Then you must decide. Decide what? Whether your faith was ever real or only convenient. The words cut deep. Eliab closed his eyes. Memories flooded his mind as prayers. His songs, Miriam's smile. The peace he once felt. Slowly, tears began to fall. I still believe, he whispered. The stranger watched him closely. Even now. Eliab nodded weakly. Yes, even now. The wind suddenly grew still. The air changed. Eliab looked up and for a brief moment, the stranger's appearance shifted. There was something divine, something beyond human. Eliab's breath caught. Who are you? He asked. The stranger smiled. A messenger. Eliab's heart pounded. From God. The man did not answer directly. Instead, he said, your faith has been seen. Eliab felt something he hadn't felt in days. Peace. Not loud, not overwhelming, but real. The next morning, Eliab returned to the village. The people watched him, expecting bitterness. Instead, he went to the hills. He gathered his sheep. And for the first time since Miriam's death, he began to sing. Not because everything was okay, but because he chose to trust. Days later, a traveler arrived in the village, a healer. He prayed for the sick. He comforted the broken. Eliab watched from a distance. Part of him wondered, what if? But he did not move. That night, the healer came to Eliab. I heard about your loss, he said gently. Eliab nodded. It is well, he replied. The healer studied him. Do you believe God can still do the impossible? Eliab took a deep breath. Yes. Then come with me. They stood outside Eliab's home. His heart raced. Why are we here? He asked. The healer looked at him. Because your story is not finished. Inside, Miriam lay where she had been placed days ago. Still, silent. The healer stepped forward and prayed. The room filled with a presence powerful, yet peaceful. Eliab's knees trembled. Lord, the healer whispered, let your glory be seen. Silence. Then, a breath. Eliab froze. Another breath. Miriam's fingers moved. Eliab, she whispered. He fell to his knees, overwhelmed. Miriam, tears streamed down his face. She was alive. Eliab turned to the healer, but he was gone. Instead, the stranger stood in his place. Eliab understood. This was the test, he said softly. The stranger nodded. Not to break you, but to reveal what was already in your heart. Eliab looked at Miriam, then back at him. Why? Because faith that survives silence can withstand anything. Years later, people would tell the story of Eliab, not as a man who never suffered, but as a man who chose faith, even when heaven was silent. And that made all the difference.